buenas tardes. Very good to be back in Colombia. I was here, as this young lady was reminding me, 15 years ago as minister in the government of India at that time. And I had some very good meetings on that occasion with your president and foreign minister in those days. But I have not been back to Colombia in the 15 years since. So it is very satisfying to be back with you again today. Though the circumstances that bring us here are not particularly happy ones. India suffered a grievous terrorist attack on the 22nd of April, when 26 holidaymakers, tourists in our northern territory of Jammu and Kashmir, were gunned down in cold blood by terrorists from across the border in Pakistan. These people actually even asked the religion of the people they were accosting before shooting them dead. And it was a ruthless, cold-blooded, awful massacre of innocent people. When this happened, of course, the world rose up to condemn the terrorist attack, but that was as far as it went. There was no action taken, not even by the country where these people had emerged from, namely Pakistan. Nobody was arrested. There was no attempt at any prosecution. India decided that this kind of outrage could not go unpunished. And therefore, on the 7th of May, India chose to launch strikes against known terror bases, headquarters and launch pads of organizations listed as terror organizations by the United Nations Sanctions Committee on Terrorism, the 1267 Committee, and also on the wanted list, the designated terror list of the United States government. So we were not targeting any Pakistani government institutions, any Pakistani civilian institutions, or even any Pakistani military institutions. We only attacked terror bases. And we did so with a great deal of precision, so much so that in one particular example, we struck a very specific building inside the rather large campus of a particular terrorist organization. And this kind of precision was meant to drive home a very specific message. The message was that if you think you can come and kill our civilians and get away with impunity, that is not going to happen. You will pay a price. At the same time, we took care to conduct these strikes at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:05 to 1:30, so there would be no civilians around and there would be minimal risk of collateral damage. And because of the care with which we had avoided any other target, we were quite confident that the only victims of these attacks would be people located in or residing in these terror headquarters, and indeed so it proved. In fact, the next day there was a well-publicized funeral of one of the terrorists on the sanctions list, and you will be interested to see that that funeral was attended by uniformed senior military and police personnel from Pakistan. That is the extent of complicity that we are seeing between the terrorists who perpetrate crimes of this nature and those who finance, guide, train, arm, and equip them, and who provide them safe haven to continue their training and their other awful deeds. This was then followed by an 88-hour conflict. I will not call it a war, but during that conflict, the Pakistanis shelled indiscriminately. They killed 19 civilians in the district of Poonch by hitting, amongst other things, a Gurudwara, a Sikh temple, a convent of the Carmelites of Mother Mary. They hit civilian homes, they hit cars, residential areas. And in retaliation, India also shelled back. We have then been at the receiving end of a barrage of missiles and drones, which were blocked by our air defenses, and we in turn struck Pakistani military airfields. At the end of 88 hours of these exchanges of strikes, the Pakistanis asked for a cessation of fire, and India immediately agreed. And the reason we had agreed is from the very beginning we had said we had no intention of starting a protracted conflict. We just wanted to teach a lesson to the terrorists alone. And we had said to the Pakistanis, if you don't retaliate, we will not retaliate. If you stop, we will stop. And that's why the war was able to end as swiftly as it did. Now, I want to stress to you, Colombia has good relations with India. We have $1.5 billion of investment in this country, in Colombia, from India. We are a country that is interested and focused only in economic growth, in development, in the well-being and prosperity of our people. Not that many years ago, a large number of our people were still living below the poverty line. For us, the biggest challenge is bringing them into prosperity in the 21st century. We have no desire to be distracted by any trouble on our borders or any conflict. We are very happy to leave our neighbor Pakistan alone if they will leave us alone. Sadly, however, what we are seeing is that Pakistan is not content with the status quo. They seek something we have that we are not going to give them, and that is our territory in Kashmir. And given that, if Pakistan believes that by resorting to all means, including terrorism, in pursuit of a policy called the death by 1,000 cuts, well, India is not so easy to dispose of, and I can assure you that India will stand firm. We are a land of peace. In fact, we're looking forward to visiting one of the statues of Mahatma Gandhi in this lovely city of Bogota. I believe you have two. Mahatma Gandhi was the apostle of peace, of ahimsa and non-violence. But he was also the leader of our freedom struggle. He fought for freedom against British oppression. And he taught us that freedom also includes freedom from fear, that you cannot live in fear and hold your head high. And we are determined that the answer to terrorism will be so firm and decisive that the terrorists and those who facilitate them will have to think more than once before they embark on such a misadventure. The reason we have come to Colombia, and we are in the middle of a 5-country tour. We have been to Guyana and Panama. We're going to Brazil and then to the United States. The reason we are here in Colombia is to seek the sympathy and understanding of the people of Colombia and the government of Colombia, of the legislators, the diputados of Colombia, and of public opinion, the opinion leaders, those who think about world affairs. We want them to understand and to empathize with our plight. We know that Colombia has had a tragic history of enduring terrorist attacks as well. We deeply, deeply empathize and have always stood strongly with Colombia when it has suffered the depredations of terror. We seek the same understanding and the same response. Please stand with us, and please be aware that we are here not only to tell you what has already happened, but to also tell you, as friends, that if this happens again, we will once again act very, very strongly. It is important that people understand this. As you know, all of us in the world want to see peace. Whenever something happens, the immediate response of the world is peaceful solution, peace, calm, non-violence, dialogue. And that is our preference too. But you cannot talk peace with a gun pointed at your head. And that is our reality. We will respond to what has been done to us, as we judge necessary. And as I say once again, we seek your understanding and support in our struggle and our fight